Hey everybody, let's go ahead and talk about this. Biden wants to overhaul the Supreme Court. I got a video here of his little speech about saying why he wants to do it, and we're going to go through it, and I'm going to nitpick and give a couple of my opinions, and we'll see what he says. I've seen a little bit of this. I have my opinions. I don't think it's a good idea, but let's check out the video. We'll go through it. I'll try not to pause it too much, but we'll try and get through it. Let's check it out.
Best and worst dinner for your waist.
Oh, there's an advertisement.
Sweet potato. Try to find the purple sweet
potato. Should have had it ready.
They're the
I guess.
highest.
Did you know you can
There's another
generate
one.
an endless supply of power simply from the ground beneath you?
As soon
There
as
we
I
go.
came to office, I convened a bipartisan presidential commission on the Supreme Court of the United States, comprised of leading constitutional scholars, both liberal and conservative, to provide recommendations on potential reforms to the court. I've been careful in these deliberations because these are serious, serious decisions. In the face of increasing threats to American democratic institutions, I used the Commission's analysis, and today I'm calling for 3 bold reforms to restore trust and accountability.
Let's not get away from the fact that this. I think that he is doing this just because of the fact that the Supreme Court has given immunity to President Trump over all the BS court crap that they're putting him through. And it didn't work for them putting him through court, and so now they're trying to overhaul the Supreme Court to get what they want because they didn't get it the first time.
To the court and our democracy. As the press shouted to me as I got off Air Force One, the Republican Speaker of the House said, whatever he proposes is dead on arrival. Well, I think his thinking is dead on arrival. First, I'm calling for a constitutional amendment called No One is Above the Law Amendment.
That's what I said. They didn't get what they wanted with all the court cases against President Trump, so now they're doing this. This is just them trying to get what they want because they didn't get it the first time.
It holds.
But let's remember when they had a favorable court system in their favor, it was fine. But now it's not because it's not in their favor anymore.
And I mean this sincerely. It holds that there's no immunity for crimes former president committed while in office. I share.
Okay, if there's no immunity for presidents while they're in office, then that would take a lot of stuff away from other presidents that have been in. Obama, Joe, not just President Trump, but there's other presidents that the immunity is in there because of the fact that if they didn't have immunity while they're in office, they would be scared to take action against anybody or anything. The immunity is in there to protect them so that they won't have to struggle between making a hard choice and, oh, what if this is going to bite me in the butt later? If they have to make a hard decision, they don't have to think about it. They can do what they think is best for the country. That's what that immunity is for.
Our founders' belief that the president must answer to the law. The president is accountable in the exercise of the great power of the presidency. We're a nation of laws, not kings and dictators.
You're right. We're not kings and dictators. You want to be one.
The decision can be boiled down to the title of one case, Trump versus the United States. The court asserted it was making a ruling for the ages. That isn't.
What about the Hunter laptop story? What about 10% for the big guy? What about that? You're just going to gloss over that?
True. The court made a ruling for one, a former president. No other president in our history has asked for this kind of immunity for criminal actions.
That's because the charges never got brought up against another
No
guy.
former president.
Because
not
of the
me,
immunity.
Not one has and should have been given any exception.
No, don't bump them out. You've done good so
such
far.
Immunity. The second thing I'm asking for, we've had term limits for presidents of the United States for nearly 75 years after the Truman administration. And I believe we should have term limits for Supreme Court justices of the United States as well.
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. It opens up a whole other can of worms. I don't agree with it. Look, what about term limits for the rest of the government? How come we're not talking about that? How long has some of these other people been in power? What about term limits for everybody else? Why are you doing it just for the Supreme Court? Because you didn't get your way, Joe. Because the Democrats didn't get their way, so that's why they're doing this.
In fact, the United States is the only major constitutional democracy that gives lifetime seats in their high court.
Constitutional republic.
Term limits would help ensure that the court membership changes with some regularity. That would make timing for the court's nomination more predictable and less arbitrary. Reduce the chance that any single presidency imposes undue influence in generations to come. The bipartisan commission I convened analyzed various term limit structures. Based on their report, I believe the best structure is the 18-year term limit. That would help ensure the country would not have what it has now, an extreme court that's proud of an attack on the confirmation process that's been weaponized by those seeking to carry out an extreme agenda for decades to come.
Again, he is saying all this because they didn't get their way and they didn't get what they want. So they're throwing a hissy fit and trying to do anything that they can. It's ridiculous. I can't even. It's just.
By the way, these guys mean it. These guys mean it. Project 2025 is real. They mean it. Third,
I don't know why they keep bringing Project 2025. They keep bringing this crap up. Okay, it's not even. Donald Trump has specifically said that he does not endorse Project 2025. He specifically said he doesn't endorse it, and he has his own Agenda 47 for his next presidency. He's said several times that he doesn't endorse this. I don't know why they keep bringing it up. It's not his outline for his next 4 years if he wins the presidency. It's not. He's said it. I don't know why they keep bringing it up. It's a scare tactic. It's all it is.
I'm calling for a binding code of conduct for the Supreme Court.
What does that entail? Because I'm pretty sure they already have a code of conduct.
Supreme Court's current ethics code is weak and even more frightening, voluntary. Any code of Congress must be enforceable. Under the reform I propose, justice would be required to disclose gifts, refrain from public political activity, recuse themselves in cases in which they or their spouses have a financial or other conflict of interest.
Isn't that in place already?
Most people don't realize that Congress passed a law decades ago that says all federal judges, including Supreme Court justices, have to recuse themselves in such cases. But the current justices insist on enforcing that requirement themselves without any public oversight or compulsion. See, that's their decision. They don't have to tell us how they made it. That might work if the court was actually enforcing those requirements, but they are not. The court is not self-policing. The court is not dealing with the obvious conflicts of interest. We need a mandatory code of ethics for the Supreme Court, and we need it now.
Tell me what conflict of interest that they're dealing with. Tell me. Don't just tell me that there's problems and then don't tell me what the problems are. Tell me what are they violating as far as code of ethics and whatever. He's got me frustrated again. See.
My fellow Americans, based on all my experience, I'm certain we need these reforms. We need these reforms to restore trust in the courts, preserve the system of checks and balances.
He doesn't want to preserve the system of checks and balances. That's why he's doing this. Every time the Democrats don't get their way, they talk about packing the court, reform the court, and they want to do away with checks and balances, just like the filibuster. Every time they talk bad about the filibuster and that it needs to go away is when they don't have the seats that they need to get the votes on the bills they want passed. Every time that they want to get rid of the filibuster, that's the case. Now, if they have the House, if they have the seats and everything that they want, and they get the votes that they want to get the bills passed that they want, then the filibuster is just fine. But if it doesn't go in their favor, they start talking about doing away with the filibuster again.
That are vital to our democracy. There are also common sense reforms that a vast majority of the American people support, as well as leading constitutional law scholars, progressives, and conservatives. I look forward to working with the Congress to implement these necessary reforms. A number of members of Congress are here today.
President Biden unveils his plan to overhaul.
It's not going to happen. Look, I'm going to tell you, just like the speaker said, it's going to be dead on arrival, because you cannot just overhaul the Supreme Court like that. You can't do it. And for him to push this forward, like I said, is just because the Democrats haven't been getting their way and things aren't going the way that they want. So they're trying to overhaul the system so that they can get things the way they want. Just like I said with the filibuster. It's just Democrat propaganda. Just like in the whole Project 2025 thing. I already went into that. I'm not going to go into it again. I think it's a load of crap. And like I said, I don't think it'll make it very far. Like I said, the speakers said it's going to be dead on arrival. I think it will be. It's frustrating, but I know it's probably not going to go anywhere, so I probably shouldn't get frustrated about it, but I still do, just because he just wants to, like I said, the Democrats don't get their way, so they throw a hissy fit and try to throw a bunch of crap out there. But you let me know, and we can talk about it. Thanks for hanging out, and hope you all have a good one.